Welcome to the Pursuit of Manliness podcast, where we are vigorously equipping men to pursue biblical manliness. 1 Kings chapter 2, beginning in verse 2 reads, I am about to go the way of all the earth. Be strong and show yourself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord your God, walking in his ways and keeping his statutes, his commandments, his rules and testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do and wherever you turn. This is David's instruction to Solomon. This is a verse that I used to use, I believe, on nearly all of the tribe materials. I know it appeared on some other things, but it's a verse intended to give a charge. Be strong and show yourself a man. I don't know what translation you read from. It may change a few words, but you can't miss the intent behind what David has given to Solomon, the instruction. Be a man. It's time to grow up. It's time to get on with it. And there's a quote that I think of quite often. I always butcher the quote, but I tend to summarize it. It's from Theodore Roosevelt Sr. We often think of Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Rider. We love to read about Teddy Roosevelt. We love to hear about him. However, this is something that I don't remember what book it is of his, but it's a quote from his father to Theodore Roosevelt, the guy that we hold, the man in the arena guy, okay? The quote is this: Theodore, you have the mind, but you have not the body. Without the help of the body, the mind cannot go as far as it should. You must make your body. It is hard drudgery to make one's body, but I know you will do it. I love the last part there. I know you will do it. I know you can do this. Now, if you know Theodore Roosevelt's life, he had to overcome quite a few things, whether it was his own sickness in his own life, his wife and mother passing away. There's a lot of things in his life that for a number of us, we would have probably folded. We would have shut it down, but he did not. One of the greatest men when it comes to America, maybe the world. I don't know how the rest of the world views him, but we often hold him in this high regard as a man's man, and yet he had to go figure that out. He had to pursue things that would grow him, stretch him, and cause him to develop some grit. Now, I want to remind you, his father lived between 1831 and 1878. What would his father say to us today? Maybe that's part of our problem. We haven't had fathers tell us hard yet truthful things. He said, hey, your mind is sharp, but your body, not so much. Now, this podcast, as you can see, hopefully from the title, is not about necessarily just getting your body right. This isn't a physical fitness podcast. This is a concern that we have grown too domesticated. I have two examples for you. The first, and they're both to do with animals, by the way. The first is, if you've ever gone to a zoo, it's pretty depressing. It's depressing because unless they're an ignorant bird or a zebra, most of these animals aren't moving about at all. You walk by the lion exhibit, and that thing, I guarantee you, if you're listening to this podcast and you went to the zoo today, he's taken a nap. I don't know what time you have to be there to see the lion not take a nap, but you never see the lion be a lion. Now, you turn on Animal Kingdom or Animal Planet or wherever the channel is, and you see those guys get out in the Serengeti where the lion is a lion. Now, yes, they lay around, but when they get after it, they get after it. And I'll tell you what, when they roar and when they hunt, and I know the lionesses do the hunting and all that, but I'll tell you what, everyone around them knows it. And you look at those animals and you think, this is sad. This is sad to see the elephants just throw some of that measly mud water on them that somebody has manufactured. It's a pathetic existence, and I think sometimes, men, that's how we're living. That's how we're existing. We're living as if we're in the confines of the zoo. Now, the problem is those animals didn't choose that, but we are choosing it. The other example is this. I don't know if it's still a thing. I don't know if they died, got eaten by this thing or what, but there was an account online. I think it was on TikTok, and somebody had, what would that thing be, like a puma? A pet puma? In their house. And I know there's more than one person that has this, but this puma, when they would like hold meat in front of it, it would start to hiss and make noises. And I'll tell you what, it makes me nervous watching that. I think one of these days that person's not going to wake up. One of these days that person is going to be breakfast for that puma. Now, when you look at that puma, you think that puma is only doing what that puma is doing. Now, they have domesticated this puma, and it's in this apartment house. I don't know where they're at, but don't miss this. All the puma-ness, that's not a word, by the way, is still in that animal. And if that animal ever decides to turn on its owner, now, in our day and age, we'll put it down, but it's only doing what was built inside of it. Now, men, there are times where we have emotions. Those emotions are anger. Those emotions are a discontentment. Those emotions are a get after it, or whatever phrase or whatever idea you want to get. And oftentimes we're viewed as being out of control or immature. And I think some of that is true, but don't miss this. What has been built into us from the Almighty is still there, even if it's dormant or just barely existing at this point. If you've ever done something where you get rid of all the screens, you get rid of all the entertainment, you get rid of all the creature comforts, and you go do it, at first you are going to not like it, but at the end of it, you will have stories to tell for years on end. I got a friend that says everybody wants to go hiking until it's time to go hiking. You plan a trip and everybody's in day or two before. I can't, man. I got to think. We found that at our first men's retreat. Everybody was camping out. I'm telling the lawn care people, hey, man, mow as far as you can. I think these guys are going to be all over the place. This is going to look like a homeless encampment. And you get about 3 weeks before the retreat. This is the first year now. And boy, guys got knee injuries, old war wounds. They had all kinds of things. I mean, the jury in sales were going through the roof. And hey, man, everybody likes the idea of being a Rough Rider until it's time to be a Rough Rider. Okay, so I want you to just consider that 100, 200 years ago, the people that came before us. You know, we started with Teddy Roosevelt's dad. I want you to consider the people that came before you. Maybe it's your grandfather. Maybe you knew him. Maybe you didn't. Maybe a great grandfather. Even if you look at, old pictures or old videos, whatever, these are people that would build homes with their hands. They worked 12 plus hour days. If the sun was up, so were they. They were getting after it. They spent more time outside than inside. They worked in fields, factories, frontiers. They fought in wars. They lived through Great Depressions. They raised large families, often with little to no support outside of anybody else. I've always made that joke, the Little House on the Prairie. The reason why that Pa cried on every episode is because he had all girls. He had to get that Alfonso guy in there like, I need some help out here, guys. They sacrifice comfort for purpose. They sacrifice comfort for provisions. And I don't think we've lived through, at least modern era right now, we've not lived through too many times, most of us men listen to this, where we've really had to sacrifice like that. Work a second job, a third job, go without, sell our things, downsize. Yes, that has happened to some, but that's not typically the norm. I think about men of World War II. Men that were born during the Great Depression, and read about their lives, read about their upbringing, read about the fact that like every son went off to war, read about the things that they wrote before they jumped out of those airplanes, before they stormed that beach on June 6, 1944. Read about what happened when they came back home and things, and you're like, man, those guys were just cut different. They were, because they weren't domesticated. They weren't perfect. Man, they were tough. They had purpose. They had resolve. They were grounded, and they were providers. They could overcome, and they didn't need all these creature comforts and all these things that, we're climate controlled. I remember being at a church camp one year where they finished a massive project. It was a climate controlled building where we're going to have lunches and stuff. Before that summer was over, every single week of camp planned all of its activities around that building, because that air conditioning, kids were used to be in air conditioning. They didn't want to be in dorms with no air conditioning. They didn't want to be outside and playing these games where you just sweat to death, get muddy. No, we don't do that no more. We have become very domesticated. A couple weeks ago, me and my family went out of town for a little bit. When we're out of town, or really anywhere for that matter, I love to hear the question asked of Dad, do you have your knife? You better believe I do. I love it when other people know, hey, Jarrett carries a knife. We need one, he's got one. Man, that's why I'm thankful for today's sponsor, Olive Knives. They make great knives. I carry the Lenta. This is now my everyday carry. It is 99% of time on me somewhere, whether it's on my pocket, in my backpack, or whatever. Oliveleknives.com. built by hand, backed by experience. Every olive knife is forged with high quality materials, sharp attention to detail, and a commitment to excellence that you can feel in every cut. And that is no joke. When you cut with it, it's just different. Whether you're carving, hunting, or just carrying your everyday blade, these aren't just knives, these are legacy tools. I agree. I believe these are knives that you would proudly hand down to the next generation. Men, check out the link in today's show notes. You can save money on your next order, oliveknives.com. We have a rise of convenience and technology and comfort. Again, climate-controlled environments, food delivery services, AI. You could type something in Google. Google's not fast enough no more. So now I'm going to go chat GPT, whatever. We have smartphones. We have less physical labor, more screen time, more I'm just going to shut it down time. And so masculinity has almost become a brand instead of a purpose and character. This podcast, not naturally weren't podcasts, a ministry like this would have never existed 50 years ago. It definitely wouldn't have existed 70 or 80 years ago. And I want you to think about that. Not that about this ministry, but here's the reality. I'm seeing more and more men, I'm 50 and up, men 50, 60, 70, 80, who are depressed, who are insecure, who are always telling guys, you just wait till you get older. It used to be an honor to sit at a table with older, rugged men who've been through some stuff, knowing that you didn't belong there. Now, if you sit at that table, you're going to hear some depressing stories. You're going to hear some sadness. You're going to see a number of insecure men who look at their life and they're not quite sure if they've wasted it or not. To that, I would say start today. Start today. So instead of masculinity being a brand or a hashtag, just make it who you are. Be the same man in who you are in every room, wherever you're at. And something I'm telling my kids all the time, be the same person in every room. I'm the same person, I believe, right here doing this as you'll see me at the men's retreat, as you'll see me on Sunday morning, at the grocery store, the soccer field, wherever. I want to be the same person no matter what room my feet are in. And so we've become safe. We become safe. And what was the cost of being safe? The average guy is considerably weaker physically, mentally, spiritually, and probably relationally than he was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Fewer men are leading families. Fewer men are staying with their families. Fewer men are staying committed to their wives, building communities and taking initiative to do hard things. I got a guy up the road here. He's cheating on his wife. She knows it now. He said, I want you out by the end of the month. Now, the new one will probably... So not only are you the one that broke the covenant, not that he sees it as much of a covenant, he's cheating on her with someone else, and he's having her move out at the end of the month. Yeah, this is where... And listen, that's not uncommon. That story didn't shock most of you. It's the reality. It's the norm. And not only that, we've gotten to a place where we can outsource everything. We can have someone teach my kid how to kick a soccer ball. Someone teach him how to do math. I take him to church on Sunday. The youth pastor will do this. My wife goes to a women's group maybe. I just stay home because that's not really my thing. And we just kind of farm out everything that used to be our responsibility. We are the pastors of our home. Don't blame your lack of spiritual growth or your family problems on your pastor. You only get him for about 35 minutes on a Sunday if you're even there. So we have outsourced everything. Literally, groceries coming to our house. We don't have to leave. We can click it. We can tick it. We can do this or that. You can do all these things. You don't have to do anything. I could sit right in my chair and feel like I'm king of the castle. Meanwhile, I become one with the chair. We avoid discomfort. Any form of discomfort, physical, relational, certainly conversations. We have an overdependence on systems when you think about technology and government and social media. And I mean, just look at what happened in 2020 when it was supply and demand and, and how much of this you could buy and how people just lost their minds and stuff. Instead of being proactive with your supplies or resources or anything like that, we just assume that stuff is always going to be there. And yeah, most of us do not live in an agrarian society. We're not growing our own food. We're not working the ground, and that's part of the problem too. We don't understand the law of cultivation, and so you think, well, I'll just go spend $200 on groceries, and then I'll bring them home, all of them in boxes, all this processed food. It's easy. I can microwave it. I can hit the numbers on the box, and in 2.5 minutes, I have myself a meal, and I'll call it good. And then I get sick, and I go to the doctor, and I'm depending on the doctor to give me one of them orange bottles with pills, and I'll just pop them, however he tells me to do it. And those will keep me going for a minute, and then I'll drink a diet soda or something like that, and that'll make me feel better. And I'll just, dust off the evening with, some beef sticks or whatever, and we just have this cycle of perpetual laziness, passivity. Now it's rare to see someone being proactive. There was a thing, what's that guy, Tim Kennedy? I don't know anything about Tim Kennedy. And I think we got to be careful with this. I believe every veteran deserves all the accolades they should get. I really do. I think we don't give them enough. I don't think we give them enough props and thank yous and discounts and all those things. But here's a guy that did do some things, but it appears that he lied about a lot of things. And I don't know all the details, and it's not for me to unpack the story because, again, I never heard the guy speak a word until a handful of days ago. But we create celebrities with these people, and then we say, oh, that's the hoorah, that's what we're about, only to find out perception wasn't reality. Well, let's make it reality. I will never do any of the things that Tim Kennedy has done or any of those guys have done. And they will never know me, and that's more than okay. But I got people on the other side of this wall who will. And I need to make sure that I am going full effort with those people to the best of my ability. We have people who get caught up in addictions of any form, pornography, alcohol, drugs, whatever, justifying it. Well, I got the thing every other guy. No, not every guy does. Let the enemy of your soul who wants to ruin you and render you completely ineffective and wants you to spend eternity separated from God, let him convince you that every guy has that same addiction. Let him convince you that it's just one more time, it's just one more, whatever it is. Let him convince you and numb your mind and numb your body and numb you relationally to the point that you are completely useless. People do not respect you no more. People do not expect anything from you no more. And you just meander through life until it's time to take your final breath. That's what the enemy of our soul wants to do to us, and that's what he's doing to a number of you. We get wound up in comfort and entertainment and pleasure. I see more guys. A friend of mine and I have this conversation. I could post a picture of something insignificant. Let's say what I had for lunch today. I could post what I had for lunch today, and I could get a number of guys who will leave a comment, an emoji, something on it. Whatever it is. It'd be a grilled cheese sandwich, doesn't matter. I could post my Bible. I could post a scripture. I could post anything spiritual that has any context of Jesus with it. Those same guys will scroll right by. I could post a picture of my college team or my pro team or something like that. Those guys might circle back. They might be back again. Hey, I'm leaving a comment. It might be new people that you forgot you're even related to. You're like, how about that? I didn't even know I was still connected to that person. I didn't know we were still friends on Facebook. Go back to the Bible again. You'll be down to about 8 people. So you can't do spiritual things. They can't do it. Because they choose pleasure over anything like that. We have isolation. No band of brothers. No community. Yeah, those guys worked the fields and all those things, but remember, their life was built around that Sunday morning or a general store or some kind of, you ever seen like when a farmer passes away and all these farmers kind of like take their combines to that farm and they till the soil and they help with the harvest, and them coming together? Yeah, I think we're losing that. I think the farmers still have it. If I'm a fan of veterans, I am definitely a fan of farmers. If you're a farmer, man, I'm for you, big time for you. I love that the Iowa Hawkeyes have A&F on their gear. America needs farmers. I believe in that. And I love that mentality. We're in this together. The community comes together. A lot of men don't have that. Well, men, it's hard to believe this is our 5th annual. I say annual because we're doing it every year. Men's retreat. Goat, Rob, you plan on being there this year?
100%.
Make sure you sign up by Sunday, September 14th. I'm telling you, man, it has proven to be one of the most impactful weekends of the year. We got guys in Tribe. We got guys from the local church. We got guys from the Indianapolis area, but we got guys that have come from all over. We had a guy ride his motorcycle, 5,000 miles one year? I don't know if I recommend that. We've had people outside the U.S. come, but nevertheless, man, just get here. You bring your son, bring someone from the church, bring just yourself. I promise when you leave, if it's just you, you will not leave feeling like it was just you. You will meet some really sound and solid men. And it's just a great weekend. So visit thepursuitofmanliness.com/gear. There you'll find more information about the retreat. Think about your life, your daily routine. How often do you choose challenge over comfort? How often do you initiate rather than react to something? Everyone, again, wants to go hiking. Everyone wants to lift weights. Everybody wants to lose weight until it's time to lose weight. January, 90 days of discipline. Everybody, I got to make a change. I got to make a change. I got to make a change. January 15th. Well, guys, I haven't really started it yet, but I'm going to get after it today. February 10th. I'm working on it by March. Now they're gone. It happens in tribe all the time. The guys that do the things, the guys that lean in, I promise you, they grow. They all grow. The guys who sign up and don't show up, I don't know what they're getting out of it. They've probably convinced their wife or their girlfriend or whoever that they're in this men's group. And they're like, okay, well, I don't know. He's in a men's group. He's got some guy, but he's not doing anything. We should have a check-in with the wife and kids. How is tribe impacting your... I bet we would have a lower registration rate if that was part of the deal in the beginning. But nevertheless, let's be men who understand that we want to be strong and show yourself a man. Not 2025's version of masculinity, manliness. That's why I say keep pursuing biblical manliness. Get in the Word. Figure out what it is. Get in the Word. Apply it to your life. Get in the Word. Be obedient to the teachings of Jesus. Get in the Word. Learn all that Jesus commanded us. Get in the Word. Recognize that your life is no longer about you. If you are a disciple of Jesus, your number one goal, make disciples of Jesus. Some of you have convinced yourself that you got saved to sit. You got saved to get fat on the fruit and labor of other people. Some of you have convinced yourself that your salvation is having a religious or denominational affiliation. You're delusional. You should read the Gospels. You should read Acts and Romans and see what is written about Christians and how they lived and how they conducted themselves and what type of community they had and what type of persecution they went through. I promise you, if you will take an honest evaluation of what you see in the teachings of Jesus and what you read in Acts, Romans, and keep moving to the right, keep finishing that book, you'll say, this doesn't look at all like the Christianity that I was sold. This doesn't look at all like the conversion that I was convinced of. So, brother, I want you to consider that before it's too late. Jesus talks about, there will be people say, well, didn't we? He says, I never knew you. It's not enough if you claim, no, I'm good with Jesus. I know Jesus. Yeah, I believe in Jesus. Good. That's a starting point. Do you obey Jesus? That's a completely different conversation. And that is a completely different way to live your life. Do hard things on purpose. Wake up early. Push yourself spiritually. Push yourself physically. Push yourself mentally and relationally. I'm so sick and tired of hearing guys say, well, I'm sort of an introvert. I'm sort of a lone wolf. We all are. I'm convinced 75% of men are. But we don't stay that way. I bet some of the disciples were lone wolves. I bet some of the disciples were introverts. Now, I don't want you to confuse this. Sometimes men use the term lone wolf introvert as an excuse to be a jerk. No, you're just a jerk. You're not good to people at all. See, people who are truly introverted or lone wolves or whatever, oftentimes it is because they care too much about what other people think. If we're going to care what they think, let's care about their soul. I care what this person thinks of me. Well, make sure that person knows before you walk away, you know Jesus. And you want them to know him too. I get it. I'm the same way. I have times of reset. I have times where I take a reprieve. I have times where I get away from everything on a regular basis. But I do that so when I walk out the garage doors, I'm better and I'm ready to go. I don't want to waste my life. And brother, I don't want you to waste your life because I'm kind of a lone wolf. Good. Welcome to the club. As I said, I think 75% of POM is lone wolves. I hear from guys all the time, I love the podcast, I love your videos, love your content. I don't really engage. No, I just kind of watch and observe. I know. I wish you did, but whatever. Hey, man, as long as it gets to your address. We may not lead the league in likes, comments, shares, downloads. We probably won't. But I'll tell you what, we lead the league in guys who are observing from a distance. I just want to get it to your house. Just get it to your house. What do? Do hard things. Lead where you're at. Lead your home. Speak life into your wife and kids. Give your wife better back to the Lord than you received her. I don't know how you received her. Give her back better. Wash her with the word. Pour into your kids. Love on them. Listen to them. Here's a hard truth, man. You're not always right, but you're not always wrong. I don't believe in the 80s, 90s, 2000s version of TV dad. I don't believe that. They made him out to be a doofus. They made him out to be. I love old shows, and I watch it. I think it was subtle, but now it's significant. I don't believe in that at all. I'll tell you what. I don't have to be the loudest voice in my home, and I rarely am. I don't have to be the fiercest. Nope, not that it. But I'll tell you what. I'm not budging. I'm not budging. I love my kids. I listen to them. I learn from them. I learn things from about TikTok or YouTube or things that I gotta be fair. I don't care to learn. There's a new dance craze. Whatever. But they know this. Dad's not budging. I am for them. I want to get them to heaven, and I want their spouse to get to heaven, and I want their future kids to get to heaven. So make an impact. Master some skills, learn some skills. Man, I told you before a couple things. I've been pretty honest about this. I'm sure you laugh at me behind the AirPods. I don't care. I told you before about, I wanted to learn how to start a fire. Never learned how to do that. So a number of years ago, I went out and tried to start a fire. It was a debacle. But now, it's a skill. I wanted to know how to do it. I thought, you've lived long enough on this planet and not know how to. That's ridiculous. Let's go learn how to do that. Another thing was cooking. I'm not good at cooking, but I can make breakfast. I do love a breakfast, and I'll eat it for every meal. But I've said before, when I started to turn that stove on the first time, I thought, Lord, please don't let me burn this house down. I don't know what I'm doing. I got a wife who's a master chef, not literally, but that woman can make anything, and it's good. So I didn't need to do it, but I thought, nope. I need it. Now I can make food for people in my house and get them started on their day. And man, just learn some skills, man. Just learn some skills. Build a brotherhood. You read a lot about brotherhoods and tribes and band of brothers, and we read it, we see it, we watch it on TV, we get all fired up about it. Man, don't go alone. You can't do it. You're not effective on your own. I know you like it, and listen, I'm a fan of being alone. I got a window of time today that I know I'm going to be alone. So one, I'm going to be proactive with my time, so I don't get caught up in no traps of the enemy in my soul. But number two, while I'm proactive in my time, it's going to be a good reset so that when people come back into the house, I'm a little bit better. That's the goal. Choose the Holy Spirit over getting into your screens. Go back to prayer, scripture, solitude. Keep the Bible out and open. We got this chair and a half in our house. They're wonderful. And I can keep my Bible sitting right to my side, my note, my pens, whatever. I got junk everywhere all around me. A jackery over here, coffee here, highlighters here, glasses here, whatever. Hey, man, in that chair, I can do some damage. Keep it out. Keep it open. Be willing to be a man of God. That was a conversation I just had with my daughter the other day. Talking about boyfriends and stuff. And there's a girl who said, well, he's a Christian. I'm so tired of hearing girls say, well, he's a Christian. Yeah, that's a good start. And so the conversation I had with my daughter is, here's what I've learned through the years. There is a radical difference between a Christian guy and a man of God. A Christian guy and a man of God are not the same people. I know you think they are, and I know it's semantics. A Christian guy, he's a pretty good guy. He's mostly safe. He's going to look at pornography, but quietly. He's going to pull away from his men's group. He's going to be there about every 6 weeks. If he does show up, he's there for the breakfast. He's not going to participate. He's not going to pray. He's not going to read the book. He's not going to engage in conversation, but he's going to be there, which is not bad. He'll probably serve somewhere. Maybe on a team marginally, as long as it doesn't cost him too much. 52 out of 52? No, that's not going to happen. He's not going to be there every week, church, but he'll be fairly dependent. It's not uncommon to see him there. As a matter of fact, you can almost expect it when he's not there, but please don't say anything when he's not there because he's not going to like it. If you say something about him not being there, he's going to get his feathers ruffled and he may have to go to a different church. Theology and doctrine, that's not really his thing. He's Christian guy. He's just there. Man of God, completely different. And I don't know how that switch flips. I really don't. I wish the Lord would kind of give me some clarity on that. But I'll tell you what, when that switch flips, there's no going back. I've seen this with a number of men, and we've had conversations about it. You look at doctrine different, you look at theology different, you look at your house different, you look at the destination of your children and your wife's soul. You look at your church different, you look at your neighborhood different, you look at the people at your work different. I'm telling you, So I'm telling my daughter this. I said, I know every girl wants to say, well, he's a Christian guy. There's a lot of guys who claim to be Christian who got to church just so that girl would go on a second date with him or she'd get off his back or something like that. But no, a man of God is completely different. Pursue being a man of God. A man of God doesn't budge, doesn't waver, does not negotiate. Shows love, grace, and mercy, compassion, but their presence is felt in a different way. You can't fake it. You can't fake a man of God. You might be able to do it for 35, 40 minutes, maybe. But over time, if you spend a day or two, you'll know. You go into their home, you'll definitely know. My daughter was talking about that. There was somebody, she had to do something and she had to go into their home for something, maybe use the restroom. I don't know. She's like, I could just tell when I walked in there. I could just tell something isn't right. These are people who would say they're Christian, right? Like this, and I got two daughters who are both noticing this. It's interesting how that happens. That's called discernment from the Holy Spirit. Christian guy, man of God, not the same person. Be a man of God. Be strong. Show yourself a man. I promise this, if you got to tell people you are, you're probably not. So just show it. Show it. People will know there's a difference in your life. You'll know there's a difference in your life when other people are impacted and start to notice that difference in your life. It'll be real. It'll be genuine. And brother, I promise you, you will not want to go back. Once that switch flips, you will not want to go back. Do not be a domesticated man. Do not be a guy who chooses comfort over courage. Don't be that guy. Don't waste your life. Don't be the guy who doesn't do anything now and gets 65, 75, 85 years old and you're an insecure old man sitting at a table with nothing to show for it. Don't be the guy who tries to die the safest. Go all in for Jesus. It'll be absolutely worth it. Amen. Just think about it. I'll talk to you in a bit. Thank you again for tuning into the Pursuit of Manliness podcast. Please like, comment, and share the show. Also, if you would leave an iTunes review, that would be greatly appreciated. And remember, keep pursuing biblical manliness.